Hey guys, so I asked you on Twitter and Instagram to send me questions for an ACE Q&A. So today we're gonna do that. We're gonna answer questions about asexuality. If you don't know a lot about asexuality, I would recommend you first head over to my video called Asexuality 101. It's a really great resource. Lots of people have complimented me on it, so I'm pretty proud of it. It's a really great video because I tell you all about asexuality and there's a lot of information in it. So check that out first, and then you can come back here and we will talk about my experiences with asexuality. So here we go! CC Bookish wants to know how I define asexuality. So asexuality is defined as a lack of sexual attraction. It's different for every single person, honestly. Some people have different romantic tendencies, some people are sex positive, some people don't like sex at all. It just kind of depends on the ace person. For me personally, my definition of asexuality, I am not sexually attracted to anybody as far as I can tell. I am open to the idea of demisexuality or gray sexuality, but I haven't been put in a situation where that's happened to me, so at this point I'm stuck at being ace. And I am also heteroromantic ace, which means I am romantically attracted, supposedly, to men. But at this point, I still have no experience, so I'd be open to like being biromantic. I just like, every time I think about it, I'm like, nah, I don't think I am. Like, I don't think I'm attracted to women in that way. And then I identify as sex repulsed, which means the idea of sex is not something that I think about like ever. I'm open to it. At this point, it's something that I think down the line I wouldn't say no completely to somebody who I really trusted, but like it's just so far down the line that I'm like, nah, I'm good, I'm repulsed. I really just like don't like the idea of sex, so who knows? Lucy wants to know, when did you first learn about asexuality and how has your coming out experience been? So I don't remember the first time I learned about asexuality. There wasn't a moment where I was like, actually, that's not true. I'm pretty sure the first time I heard of asexuality, I was like, this sounds familiar, maybe it's me. But I'm pretty sure I learned about it in high school at some point. I remember when I was in like 11th grade, I really wanted to write a story about an asexual main character, and I don't remember if that was because I identified as ace at that point, or if I was just like, we don't have any of those characters, I want to write one of those, and like, I could see it being both of those, honestly. But I really don't remember. I didn't learn about it in school. I'm pretty sure I just like saw it on Tumblr at one point and I was like, whoa, same, that's me. So yeah, I don't remember. And then my coming out experience has been really strange. It's been pretty good in a lot of aspects. Like, all of my online friends have been so supportive, and all of them just like they always compliment me. Literally anybody I meet online who has seen my ace videos are just like so nice, because they're like, I like didn't know anything about asexuality and you really taught me a lot and I really love your views on it and stuff like that. So it's just been like really positive in that sense. I have had a couple of weird comments on my ace videos and I just like delete them, or I will fight them. I'm sometimes in a fighting mood. For the most part, it's been very positive online. I haven't had any like horror stories. As for my real life friends, only some of them know, as far as I'm aware. I haven't like physically talked to anybody about it. I had one friend from home, she actually commented on my ace video. She sent me a text and she was like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea. I hope you know I support you 100%. And it wasn't even one of my like super close friends. It was just more of a like, we used to be really close and now we don't talk very often. So it was like really sweet. I haven't talked to my parents about it. I am pretty sure they know though, because on election day I sent them a very long email about everything and I was like, and I'm asexual, so they know, but like we don't talk about it because like what is the point, honestly? That's how I feel with most of my real life friends. It's like they don't really need to know because I don't really bring it up in everyday conversation. Bree would like to hear about my experience growing up ace. At what point did I realize it wasn't considered the norm and that I differed from my peers? I don't think I actually realized it until high school, but I was like subconsciously aware of it in middle school for sure, because growing up I definitely did not see myself as ace. I assumed what all of them assume in the early 2000s, like, hey, I'm straight. Obviously, there's no other answer to that question. I think I noticed it most in middle school because almost all of my friends were super horny and they were just always interested in boys, like, which is fine. You do you, but I was not. And so whenever we talked about it, I always felt super uncomfortable because I was like, I don't get what you're talking about. And then they'd be like, well, no, clearly you're gay, like in a joking way. But I'd be like, am I gay? Nah, I'm not gay. But I'm not straight. What does this mean? And it was just like, middle school was a very confusing time, honestly. Yeah, growing up ace, I really noticed that I differed from my peers, like 7th, 8th grade, I think was the time. And then in high school, like, it kind of toned down, like my friends weren't as boy crazy, but like I still just like anytime any of my friends talked about boys around me, I just felt very weird about it because I was like, I don't relate to this. Growing up ace is hard, guys. Don't do it. Julia has 2 questions. How did you find out you were ace? Tumblr. I'm like fairly certain. The main way is reading like forums and blog posts and stuff and being like, oh wow, that's really relatable. That's exactly how I feel. I guess I must be ace too. And I don't remember like the first time that I was like, clearly I'm ace. Like I can remember the feeling, but like I don't remember what day or when it was. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's relatable. And then I moved on with my life. Yeah, it's like the more and more I read those posts and I read the experiences of others, the more I can be like, you are valid, you feel the same way, clearly you are asexual, don't deny it. And number 2, how do you experience crushes? I have had 2 crushes in my life that I will count as crushes. The other ones were kind of forced. The 2 crushes I had in my life, it's not so much a, oh my gosh, I want to kiss you, let's go have sex, let's be together. It's more just like me pining after someone because they're really good looking, they were nice to me for like 5 minutes, and they're like really funny. It's really a lot of me just like looking at the person and wanting to talk to the person and wanting to sit next to the person, and like that's it. And both of the crushes that I've had lasted like 2 or 3 years. Like they're pretty intense. When I start crushing on somebody, like it gets real, but also it's literally me just like looking at the person being like, will you talk to me? You're so great. It's always interesting to hear other people talk about crushes because other people have like a lot of crushes, and I haven't had a crush since high school, so I don't know. That's kind of how it is. Hopefully that answered your question. I don't think it did. Caitlin wants to know, are you comfortable with being ace? Do you ever wish you weren't or worry that you're missing out on things other people experience? If you'd asked me this a couple years ago, I don't know how I would have answered, but right now, yes, I am very comfortable. I love being ace, honestly. It's the days when I think that I'm not ace that I get a little sad because I'm like, but I just ace, I'm ace. It's like become such a huge part of my identity. Once I figured out I was ace, I took it on wholeheartedly. I was like, this is me. I don't care about anybody else. Like I'm 100% asexual. It's great. So no, I don't ever wish I wasn't, especially because I just like my brain, the way it works, I do not understand like sex stuff. Like, you know what I mean. I don't understand sexual attraction at all. So like, I think if I were to not be asexual, I would be a different person and life would just be so weird because like, I just don't get it, honestly. And it's not something that I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I understood that so I could get in on it. Like, no, I don't want to know. Like growing up, I was always the person that was like, can we just like not talk about sex and boys and like kissing and like, can we not? It makes me uncomfortable. Even today, like I get super uncomfortable during sex scenes in TV and movies, and like I don't understand how people can stand it. I don't understand the point of them. So like, no, I don't think I'm missing out on anything, honestly. That's just like who I am. Have you ever experienced any rejection, denial of ace as an identity by non-ace people? On the internet, yes. I've gotten a couple comments on some of my videos of people who are like, you can't be ace, or ace isn't valid, blah blah blah. It's more specific than that, but whenever I get those comments, I'm like, no. I think the most rejection comes from the people who say that cis, heteroromantic, asexual people are not part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And I don't know exactly where I fit in that community specifically, but it just bugs the crap out of me when people are like, no, you're not queer. You don't experience any oppression. Like, no. Have you seen ace people? We got so many problems, honestly. Like no representation at all. Nobody talks about us. I think the biggest thing that offends me is that like I am not straight, okay? I may be cis and I may have heteroromantic feelings. I do not feel the same way about sex that like straight people do. And I don't relate to straight people at all. We may have the same romantic attraction, but like literally any of my friends, you know this, I don't relate to them. And even my other queer friends, like I know people who are bisexual and I have some gay friends too, and like I just like, it does not equate, okay? Like I am not the same as a straight person is. So yeah, that's like the most rejection that I see, and usually it's not directed at me specifically, it's more at like the general group as a thing. I mean, the other rejection that I've had is people who don't know I'm ace in the real world just questioning asexuality and being like, what the heck, this is stupid, nobody experiences this, blah blah blah. And then I just sit back being like, you're wrong, but okay, it's fine. That's like partially my fault because I don't tell people that I am ace. So I could come back and be like, hey, by the way, you're wrong, I'm ace, good luck. But like I just, you know, confrontation, not worth it. Raina wants to know, how do you feel about the ace rep in the LGBTQIA plus community? What ace rep? I'm only partially serious. The rep that we have, there's like some really good gems, like We Awaken, Tosh Hearts Tolstoy. Suddenly I can't remember any other ace books, but most of the like specifically ace books that we have, there is good rep out there. However, I can pretty much count it on my two hands. There's really minimal representation, and there's even less when you get into like visual media. Like, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a movie where there's been an ace character. What we have is fine, but I'm still just mad that there isn't any, really, and I'm still confident saying that because there really isn't any. You know, it frustrates me, especially because like we've been fighting so long for all the other representations. Like, we've been fighting for a lot of like gay rep for a while, but like we're only starting to have bi rep, and like there's still no pan rep, and there's no ace rep, and there's very little non-binary rep, and like very, very limited trans rep, and it just like frustrates me to no end. Hopefully I can write an ace book and get this party started, you know what I mean? Jonathan wants to know, what are some of your favorite ace YouTubers? I gotta be honest, don't know that many. I know Paige she's wonderful from Enchantology, and also McKenna, Simply McKenna, I think is her username. Anyways, she is like the cutest, most beautiful person I've ever seen, and she identifies as Arrow Ace. She's just so wonderful. I could stare at her all day, but she's really sweet. She goes to Disneyland all the time, and she has pink hair right now, I think. Ace goals, honestly. I love her. But other than that, I don't really know any. What do you have to say to ace-phobic people? Can you not be ace-phobic? What do you feel is the most upsetting, annoying misconception or stigma about ace people? One of the stigmas that a lot of people had in the past, I think it's getting a little bit better, but a lot of people just assume that ace people can't be in relationships, and they don't want to be in relationships, and they don't want to fall in love, and they don't want to date anybody. Of course, it depends on the person, and some people don't want that at all, which is fine. But there are a lot of us who do want relationships, and there are a lot of us who are ace and they are in healthy relationships, and it just frustrates me that people think like, oh, asexual people can't flirt, asexual people can't be in a relationship, asexual people don't want to fall in love, so my character can't do that, or blah blah blah. That's just not true. This is not necessarily annoying, but it's just funny. I love the misconception that asexual people are plants. Like, it's offensive, yes, but it's just like really funny for some reason to me to be like, yeah, no, we're not a plant. I'm a person. I exist. I'm real. That's different. Also, I just really like using the joke, the year is 2040. Our president is a plant. I wish our president was a plant. Nabila wants to know, what are some misconceptions about asexuals that annoy you? So I just answered that question. Emily wants to know, what characters do I headcanon as ace? Honestly, the more and more that I think about it, there are more characters that I'm like, they're ace, they're all ace everywhere, but that's not the case. Some of the main ones I can think of, Katniss Everdeen, definitely ace. I don't care what you tell me, she is 100% asexual. She might be demi, actually. Raven from Teen Titans, really ace. No wonder I loved her as a child. The Doctor, specifically 11 from Doctor Who, I think he is definitely ace. Everybody pretty much agrees on that. Newt Scamander, ace. So ace. Also, Luna Lovegood is another one that recently somebody commented on it and they were like, yeah, Luna's totally ace. And I was like, you're so right. She's so ace. It's great. Amryn from the ACOTAR series, I think she's ace, even though we had some weird stuff going on in ACOWAR, definitely think she's ace. Those are most of my main ones that I go to. Proud Bookline wants to know, did you identify as something else before ace? Did you ever think about gray demi? Yes, yes. When I first started thinking I was ace, I was like, I'm totally demi, because I think I liked having that loophole. Like, the good thing about demisexuality is, like, for the most part, you're ace, and then if you find somebody that you're sexually attracted to, you can be like, actually, I'm demi, I'm not fully ace. So, like, I always saw it as a loophole where I could always, like, go back on my word and be like, no, I'm not ace, I'm actually demi. But the problem is I have not experienced that, so the longer it goes, the more I'm like, nah, Jenna, you're probably ace. So I probably won't figure out my, like, true sexuality until I, like, find somebody, if I find somebody, but growing up, I definitely thought I was straight, like everybody does. Like, literally the difference between nowadays and back then is staggering, because I do remember growing up and being like I just didn't think about it. The first time I think I had heard about homosexuality was like maybe 5th or 6th grade, and the only reason I had heard about it is because there were some girls in my class who like were definitely not straight, and everybody like avoided them like the plague. It was terrible back then, and you didn't want to be gay. So like literally everybody was just straight. Like, you were straight and that was that. We didn't discuss any of the other sexualities, And I don't think I learned about them until like maybe late high school. There was no option. I was straight. Do you have any work in progresses with ace characters? Yes, I do. At this point in my time, I have like 3 ideas in my head. One of them is my nano novel that I am like over 50,000 words into, and I just haven't touched it in months. And that one is about an ace main character and her bisexual best friend who dies, and then the ace girl goes to hell to grab her and save her. And then the other things that I'm working on that at this point are just ideas. I just really like the idea of thinking of like sailors and sirens, and like, you know, mermaids who kind of like sing to men and then they like go to their doom, but like thinking about that with like 2 girls and having one and or both of them being asexual. Like, also the one that I'm like gearing up, like I want to write it someday, I just don't know when is the time to do so because I'm really scared about writing it, is an asexual FF retelling of Moulin Rouge. You know, I just want a Moulin Rouge retelling, and I was like, if nobody else is gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure that is what I want to work on in November for Nano, and I'm vastly unprepared, so we'll see. But that's what's on the docket right now. Literally every story I write now is ace, so one day I will write an ace story and it'll get published. Aaron wants to know, would you like to see more ace rep in books, in particular YA? Is this even a question? Clearly yes. Like, why would I not? Louise wants to know, how do you feel about ace rep in the media, specifically Erasure in Riverdale and Raphael in Shadowhunters? I gotta be honest, I'm still mad about Riverdale. I never watched it, but like, Jughead is supposed to be ace, and more than that, Cole or Dylan or whoever's playing him, he said he wanted to portray him as ace, and they were like, nah. No thanks. It's just frustrating because I do follow a lot of people who are ace and they're very mad about that, and I'm mad about that too, but I equally follow as many people who are like, oh my god, Riverdale is so great, and I just like, it makes me want to like bang my head against the wall because like, people just like don't understand. Specifically for Shadowhunters, I never watched past season 1, so I don't know how they have portrayed Raphael. I've heard from Cassie herself that he is ace, and she says in the show he is ace as well, so like, woohoo. But I haven't seen it, so I don't feel like I can fully comment on it. But honestly, like, ace rep in the visual media, I'm gonna take this as visual and not in books, is just not there. It took me 22 years, but I finally found a book that I feel fully represents me as a person. And even though there are a lot of films that I feel like represent me or that I just like love and adore, I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie feeling fully recognized as a person. And so I guess I'm still waiting on that day. Like, I have high hopes that in my lifetime I will see a truly great asexual film. And it doesn't even have to be that. I just need a movie with an ace character. That's all I need. It doesn't even have to be about asexuality. But that's just something that, like, the older I get, the more and more passionate I am about ace rep, and like, I just want more of it and better ace rep. And like, it just hurts my heart because I know if I had had better ace rep growing up, like, maybe things would be different. And like, I don't know. But yes, Karen wants to know when I was sure that I was ace. If I'm being honest, folks, that day still has not come. I try to come off as really confident about it, and there are days where I feel more confident about it than others. But the problem with asexuality is I think it is the most slippery of the sexualities. It's like the whole broad spectrum of demi, gray, ace, all of it. It's one of the worst ones because you can never fully like rein in your confidence about it. Like, I feel like it's easy to have the other sexualities because you can be like, clearly I'm attracted to this person, thus I am straight, or thus I am gay, thus I am pan, whatever. But like, asexuality, it's just so difficult because you are always doubting yourself. Like me, I still have days where I'll be reading something and I'll be like, wait a minute, am I actually not ace because I can't tell if this is sexual attraction or not? I just constantly think like, oh my gosh, what if I'm lying to myself? What if I'm actually not ace? And then I'll read a blog post and be like, no, Jenna, you're definitely ace because this is totally you. I guess when I was like when I first came out as ace to myself was probably at the start of college. I started talking about it more on Tumblr. So college was really when I was like sure I was ace, and like I am like mostly sure I'm ace, like 95%. But there's still that like sliver of me that's like, what if I'm lying? What if I'm not ace? I'm never confident about it. I don't think anybody is. A lot of us still doubt that we're asexual. So this was a terrible, terrible Q&A. Hopefully you got some insight into my life as an ace person. If you ever need help with ace characters or ace writing or ace anything, please don't hesitate to ask, to reach out to me. I just love answering questions about asexuality, so even if it's like something that you think is really offensive and stupid, like, I got you. I will help you out. I want to be that person for you. Thank you guys so much for asking all the questions. They were all really, really great. If you have more questions for me that I haven't answered, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will get back to you on that. Awesome! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!